Stop scrolling for a second. There is one single terrifying truth that governs your entire life, your economy, your politics, and even your thoughts. It's a three-word mantra shouted by a 17th century philosopher. Knowledge is power. But this is not a history lesson. This is a reality check on the most explosive idea in human history. We all casually use this phrase, but do we really understand the earth-shattering, revolutionary weight it carries? In this video, we're going on an epic journey that connects the deepest thinkers of the past to the most pressing questions of today. We're going to travel from Plato's idealism, where knowledge was spiritual truth, straight into Francis Bacon's laboratory, where knowledge became the weapon to conquer nature itself. We'll reveal why Bacon's idea fundamentally changed the course of science, launched the Industrial Revolution, and even created the digital dictatorships that control your life right now. But here is the central paradox we must confront. If knowledge grants humans godlike power, who is truly wielding it? And is it being used to build or to destroy? Stay with us, because understanding this core philosophical shift is the single most important step to regaining control in the 21st century. This video will change the way you look at information, your phone, and the people who run the world. Let's dive into the architecture of modern power. To truly grasp the radical nature of Francis Bacon's phrase, we have to understand where knowledge began. For thousands of years before Bacon, the most influential thinkers did not equate knowledge with power over nature. Take Plato, the towering figure of ancient Greece. For Plato, true knowledge was not about controlling the world around you. It was about accessing the forms, perfect, eternal, spiritual truths. Knowledge was a virtue. It was about self-improvement and understanding the good, the beautiful, and the just. The power derived from this knowledge was moral and intellectual, not mechanical. Or consider Aristotle. His method, though based on observation, focused heavily on classification and deductive reasoning. Aristotle sought to understand the nature of things, not necessarily to change them. His philosophy dominated European thought for 2,000 years, placing the scholar in the library, not the laboratory. In this framework, knowledge was sacred, passive, and contemplative. It was something you achieved through pure thought and logic. This entire system was a beautiful, stable edifice. And then, Francis Bacon arrived, kicking the legs out from under it. Bacon looked at this 2,000-year legacy of intellectual contemplation and declared it fundamentally useless. He didn't just want to know why the apple fell. He wanted to understand the laws of gravity so he could use that power to build something. Bacon's revolution was simple. Knowledge must be active, practical, and aimed at conquering the struggles of the human condition. He wanted knowledge to be used for the relief of man's estate. To make this happen, he first had to change the way we think. Before we delve into his revolutionary method, let's understand the man who dared to rewrite the rules of knowledge and power. Who was this revolutionary who declared knowledge is power? Francis Bacon was a polymath, an attorney, a politician, and a philosopher who lived a complex and often dramatic life in Elizabethan and Jacobean England. Born in 1561, Bacon was intimately familiar with the levers of political power. He served as a member of Parliament, the Attorney General, and eventually rose to the high office of Lord Chancellor, the chief judge of the realm. His proximity to power, however, did not insulate him from its dangers. In 1621, he was convicted of taking bribes, leading to his dramatic fall from grace, a heavy fine, and a brief imprisonment in the Tower of London. This experience solidified a core lesson. Power is fleeting, but fundamental principles endure. While his legal and political career was marked by ambition and scandal, his true legacy lies in his philosophical writings, particularly his 1620 work Novum Organum, The New Instrument. This book was his direct declaration of war on the old Aristotelian methods. Bacon was not merely observing the world. He was designing a system to control it. He envisioned a future where organized, collaborative, scientific inquiry, his new method, would usher in an age of prosperity and technological marvels. His philosophy was a project to redeem humanity through applied knowledge. This brings us to the core of his groundbreaking idea. How exactly do you turn mere information into true, world-changing power? Bacon's famous phrase, "knowledge is power," is not just a catchy slogan. It's a direct reference to his revolutionary scientific methodology, outlined in his 1620 masterpiece, Novum Organum, The New Instrument. Before Bacon, knowledge often stagnated because thinkers started with general assumptions and tried to find specific evidence to support them. This is called deductive reasoning. Bacon saw this as a fatal flaw. He called these intellectual biases the idols, false images or mental traps that prevent us from seeing the world clearly. Bacon insisted we must do the opposite. He championed inductive reasoning. Start with painstaking, unbiased observation and experimentation. Gather countless specific facts. Only then, cautiously, should you draw a general conclusion. This was the birth of the scientific method as we know it today. Why did this make knowledge powerful? Because it provided a reliable, verifiable blueprint for controlling the natural world. Bacon's core equation. Reliable observation plus methodical experimentation equals predictable results, equals control, equals power. When you know exactly why a ship floats or why a disease spreads, you gain the power to build better ships and cure diseases. Knowledge was no longer for the soul. It was for the factory, the farm, and the operating table. This intellectual shift did more to launch the Industrial Revolution than any single invention. It provided the intellectual toolset to master energy, chemistry, and production. But as this scientific power grew exponentially in the centuries following Bacon, a new question arose. If knowledge is power, and power corrupts, does knowledge corrupt absolutely? Bacon promised that scientific knowledge would be used for the relief of man's estate. Yet, history shows that this incredible power is a double-edged sword. The knowledge that gave us penicillin and electricity also gave us the atomic bomb and environmental destruction. The power to understand the world became the power to destroy the world. This is the moral crisis embedded in Bacon's mantra. The philosopher Michel Foucault took this idea of knowledge and power to its most cynical extreme. Foucault argued that in the modern era, knowledge is inherently linked to control. Institutions, like schools, hospitals, and prisons, don't just hold knowledge, they use it to discipline and normalize individuals. For Foucault, the power in knowledge is power is not just the ability to control nature, it's the ability to define who is normal and who is deviant. Data, statistics, and medical records become tools used by those in authority to create social compliance. In Foucault's view, knowledge is a system of surveillance and control. This brings us to the ultimate, final application of Bacon's philosophy in the 21st century. Today, the most powerful resource on Earth is not oil, but data. And data is simply Baconian knowledge on a scale he could never have imagined. Every click you make, every purchase, every location tag, that is raw observational data. Major tech corporations are the ultimate Baconian scientists. They meticulously collect specific facts, your habits, and use inductive reasoning, algorithms, to draw incredibly accurate general conclusions, your future behavior. This predictive knowledge gives them unprecedented power. The power to shape your political views, influence your purchasing decisions, and manipulate your attention span. They don't just sell you a product, they sell certainty. The certainty of knowing what you will do next. This is the ultimate evolution of Bacon's philosophy. Data knowledge is absolute power. We started in ancient Greece, where knowledge was sacred truth. We traveled through Bacon's revolution, where knowledge became a practical tool for mastery. And we landed here, in the data age, where knowledge is a system of profound, invisible control. Bacon's prophecy was correct. Knowledge is power. But the challenge for us, for every individual alive today, is no longer how to generate knowledge, but how to resist the power that knowledge generates. In a world saturated with information, the real power lies in critical thinking, in knowing not just what to know, but what to ignore, and in demanding transparency from those who hold the biggest data monopolies. Don't just be aware of the facts, be aware of the power structure those facts create. Before you leave this video, I want you to look at your phone, look at your newsfeed, and ask yourself this single, essential question. Who is truly benefiting from the information I consume? And how can I turn the knowledge I possess into empowerment, not just compliance?